Alrighty, I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Maddie.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab. Welcome back, guys, to the Enthusiast Lab. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, we are in a different room. And if you heard through our introduction, we have a special guest today.
Hello.
So this is Maddie. She is from Vida and she is a marketing guru. So she will be talking to us on today's episode, all things marketing.
I cannot wait. Obviously, a bit obsessed with this topic. It's going to be a wild ride.
Naturally. So let's get to know you a little bit more before we jump into today's topic. So give us an introduction.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I've worked in the building industry for 5 years now, in the realm of marketing, retail management, et cetera. Prior to that, I worked in a marketing agency where I was a marketing manager working for clients, big and small, like muesli brands to, FIFO brands and all the kind of things in between. I have my bachelor's in marketing and the media and also first class honours as well. And I absolutely love my job.
So
Perfect.
#nerd.
Yeah, nerd alert. Proud of it, dude.
So this is actually our third time trying to record this because we have had glitches on our last two episodes or tried to record them.
It didn't record the whole thing. Fuck.
But last episode you actually mentioned the 5 Ps. Do you want to talk to us about those?
100%. So I thought, I know, because we're speaking of like nerd alert and like getting all nerdy, I thought I'd like quickly cover that when it comes to marketing, there's kind of what we call the 5 Ps of marketing. So that's the product that you're marketing, the price at which you're setting for that product, how you promote that product, so promotion, place, so they're like the channels and the distributions of where that product goes, and also the people that form an intrinsic part of that product, like usually in the office or in the production. So today we're really going to be covering off the promotional angle, but yeah, I wanted to flag it's just one part of the marketing kind of bundle, and there's so many different ways people do try to kind of convince you to purchase in certain ways. So yeah, the promotion element is really about creating awareness and interest in a product and persuading people to purchase it.
Yeah, perfect. And we might have you on another episode later down the track to talk about the 5 Ps and go through it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
pricing's
There's
a
so
fun
much.
one.
Yeah.
Pricing's
Yeah.
really interesting. So yeah, lots of ways we can go into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. So today, as you guys could tell, we are talking all things marketing. And I think we should just jump straight into it and talk about the first type of marketing, which is finance-orientated marketing. And this is stuff like get in for $3K, $0 savings for home loans, and pay your rent while you build. So all finance-orientated marketing. So let's jump into those and have a chat about
Have a
it.
bit of a gander.
Little gander. Yeah, no, for sure. I think the first thing to think about when it comes to financial marketing is why it exists in the first place. And the reason it exists is because people often don't realize they can qualify for a home. It's much more affordable to get into the marketplace when you're buying new than it is buying established. And you don't need the largest deposit to get started. And yeah, that's something I really love about financial marketing. Obviously, it has a lot of cons as well. When it's not just pulling people into the marketplace, it is sometimes a bit of smoke and mirrors.
100%.
definitely.
So some of the ones that a lot of people actually hear about is, you've got the jump in for 0 savings. You can get in for $3.90 a week type of promotions, or you've got your tank. I think it's like more around those. We'll pay your rent during the build. All these type of scenarios, because they're all based around that finances, and a lot of what the builders do is very finance driven to really try and lure it in and to hit that emotional point with a lot of clients, because it's all about, hey, we're currently struggling right now with rental and shit. So having this savior come out of nowhere going, we have a solution for you that is so easy, just reach out and we'll get it done. That's what people end up, and curiosity killed the cat, and it's one of those things.
There's also quite a big misconception with building that you need that 20% deposit. which is what pretty much everyone's parents told us. I mean, I know my parents told us we need 20%.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
20% deposit, which is very untrue in the building industry. Granted, there's different avenues and different deposit methods, but
and it's a lot of money. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And, you know, we covered a little bit about that in our first episode, and we're going to do another one with a finance broker to go into more detail. But in terms of the marketing side, it's how, you know, we get all these misconceptions drilled into our brain. So then when someone throws something that seems so easy and so doable, you'd be stupid not to try and reach out. And that's what they focus on with builders. So we're going to break it all down, but like, you know, getting in for 3K, you know, you can secure this massive 4x2 home in the prime area that you want to look at for 4K or 5K or 3K. It changes. So let's start with that one.
yeah, let's jump into that
Let's
one.
start with that one because you see it fucking everywhere.
So, Maddie, let's jump into the first one, which is get in for 3K or 4K nowadays.
Yes.
Well,
so
Yeah, you go.
yeah.
You
Wait,
do it.
who's
You do
doing
it.
it?
All right.
No.
I'll handball that one to you.
Marketing guru, Maddie's here. Let's talk to
Okay,
Maddie.
okay.
Okay, guys. I'm loving everyone fighting over me. It's perfect. So these ones really all come down to T's and C's. Anything is, and everything in these kind of cases is usually legally approved. A good thing to keep in mind is that builders, big and small, usually either have a lawyer on consult or they have a lawyer like literally in their building. Like some of the big business builders I know, they run every single thing by them. So technically everything is legit. But yes, everything links to those T's and C's. So you'll see an asterisk, clicking that page, and then you'll see so many words. You'll be like, my eyes hurt, my head hurts. What does it all mean? So yeah, when it comes to like get in with 3K or get started with 3K, 3.5K, that usually refers to what deposit is required by the builder. So for their portion of it, it's not really talking about the land element or kind of anything else that's required to get a home.
Yes, correct. So to jump onto that, the reason why a lot of them actually use that is, like you were saying, is one concept is it's all about what deposit you need to secure with the builder, and then add the rest of what savings you need, or as well as the land deposit requirement separate. Or the other one is that low deposit scheme that we have mentioned to you guys that are listening in our previous episodes, which is about in WA, it's called the Key Starts deposit, which is your low deposit as a first home buyer.
That used to be so popular.
That was so popular. Look, it's still available, but it's just a lot harder to reach now for couples and families and single people because of the high interest rates with what we're dealing with. But the way it works with the low deposit scheme is so this is for everyone that is a first home buyer and that is in Perth, WA. So the way it works is it's based on that you only need to contribute 1% of the deposit. So if it's a $400,000 deposit, house and land package, that means $4K. That's $4K. Now, what you got to remember with that is that there is still remainder of deposits, but that is covered by your first home owner's grant. So that's why your contribution is only that 1%, which is where this whole secure a house land package of 3K, 5K is where it comes from. But it doesn't work for everyone. You need to assess to see if you are eligible, if it's the right fit for you. And that is normally how a lot of these consultants and builders actually advertise these packages, as well as sometimes they just simply lure you in. They know you can't afford it with the low deposit, so fuck it. If you want it, technically, like you were saying, it's all T's and C's. On the technicality, yeah, you can secure a massive 4x2 with a big garage home for 3K because that's what the builder needs you to do to secure it. But the rest of it, yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah, that's a great summary, Nick.
Oh, well, thank you.
Happy to move on to the next one, which is pay your rent while you build.
100%. I'm taking
this
this
is
one.
all you. Yeah,
Fighting
this is
to the
all
death.
you.
Yeah. So this one here, I've done a lot in my career, looking back at it, particularly working at some of the big business builders in town. It's thankfully something I haven't looked at for a couple of years and never want to again. That's one of my big things personally about staying in the industry is moving away from all of that and bringing clarity and transparency to the industry. But yes, back when we used to do it, Nick and I used to work together as well. This is back when we were little babies.
Like as little babies
Little
when we
baby
first
babies.
started.
So we definitely use this, and you know it has its pros, but basically the idea is clients see messaging, or you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you see an ad, it says, "Yeah, we'll pay you rent while you build," and you're like, "What? I always thought building was so inaccessible, but now like someone's going to pay my rent and I get a home at the end of it. Like what could be better?
100%.
And it like truthfully, it does sound too good to be true. So what do we say about things that sound too good to be true, Nick?
It
It's
probably
too good to
is
be true.
It's too good to be true. It's too good to be true, guys. Come on. So what happens is if your home, for example, or say house and land deposit, say your house and land deposit costs $450,000. What they're going to do is they're then going to actually quote you $460,000. They're going to add an extra $10,000 in. It's not written anywhere. It's not a line item. It's just what we call padded into the price.
Right.
So you're not going to know about it, and or be able to see it, or be able to take it away, whatever it might be. You sign up, and you're like, oh my god, the builder's giving me an extra $10,000. They're going to pay my rent while I build. But what happens is because it's not set up that way, you're actually going to just be getting a lump sum of your own money that you got a loan for back at some point during your building journey. Depending on those T's and C's, it could be like plate heights are quite a common one. And you'll get it in one bulk payment usually, which means like no one's coming in every week while you're building and while you're in pre-construction paying your rent. You're just, again, like the T's and C's, technicality, you're getting a $10,000 lump sum.
Exactly.
And you think, oh, this is a gift. It's like, no, like this is in your loan. You've literally paid for it. So now not only are you paying interest on your actual home, you're getting paid interest on the $10,000 you actually also got. So it's a bit like a personal loan in a sense.
Yeah,
like in a way.
Literally, it's like a personal loan at a lower interest rate than is if you were to do it as a personal loan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad thing
No.
if the clients are aware of it.
No, they want that. Some people want it for
Yes.
furniture. Like if you go to your bank and you're like, oh, hey, or whatever you want to do, I want to structure things this way because I want to get really nice furniture, or I want to do X, Y, Z, or I want to go on a holiday and I want to, like, that's cool. But as long as you're aware of it, that's...
Yeah, exactly.
I think, and that's what we're trying to explain to people. It's like, look, if this is what you want to do, fucking no qualms. Like, if it stacks up with banks and they approve it, blah, 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 yeah, go for it. But the problem is that everyone tries to advertise these things as like the holy grail. And this is the best thing ever. If you don't do this, it's the, you're stupid type of thing. But people don't understand how it actually entails, how it works. So this is what we're all about, is we're just here to fucking break those barriers so that you can understand how it gets done. If you're happy with it, cool, do it. If not, well, at least now you know how. Because no one's giving you shit for free. It just doesn't fucking exist. And in building, if someone's giving you something for free, run. Because that is a huge red flag. There is no one that is able to do something for free. Someone has to pay for it. And unfortunately, being a client, it always ends up being you.
It's always the client.
It's always you.
Exactly.
It's always you.
So everything you add on, like whatever it might be, has a cost associated with it. And I think as a consumer, particularly in this market, everyone should want there to be a price associated with it, because if there wasn't and the builder wasn't making money, like we know what happens in those scenarios.
Yeah.
And that's
And
not
it's
fiscally
scary.
responsible. That's not a good
No.
builder does not do that either.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly. Now, I don't know, did we cover zero saving home loans?
Nah, so I'll
Okay,
touch
let's
on
skim
this
over
one.
that one.
Yeah.
Well, I can just touch over it. So the zero savings basically doesn't exist in terms of a realistic point of view. You need to pay a deposit to a builder. You need to pay a deposit to the land. So someone has to pay for it. Now, the only way we're going to go into this into detail with a finance broker about it all, because it's based around a guarantor home loan. And the reason why is because once you have a guarantor that can help you to use that security for your deposit, you don't need savings. So therefore, the whole zero savings does come into play on the technicality. But you still need to physically pay money towards the deposit for the builder, because they need to create your building contracts and all that shit like we've talked about.
And just touching on that, like for example, that could be anywhere from $2,000 to maybe $5,000.
Yeah. 2 to 5 grand is on average with most builders, and then land deposit can be anywhere between 1 to 5 grand as well. So you do need to have some cash to put towards it, guys. So that's as a rough idea how that all works. There are different legalities and different possibilities with using rebates from a builder and from a land developer, but it's too complicated to go right now. We've got so much jam-packed in this
100%.
episode as it is.
Yeah.
So if you have any other questions about this, just reach out to us directly. We can answer in the meantime, but we will address this in a future episode.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Love it.
So the next one is promotions. So this
Yes.
is getting a pool for $4,990 or getting a kitchen upgrade for $2,999
Yeah.
or $60K worth of inclusion. So
Yeah.
all things promotions. Maddie, let's get you to talk us
It's
through.
funny because I think everyone inherently knows that promotions are there to drive desire and to get your kind of heart racing, you know, mouth kind of watering at what's on the table.
Basically, like with a bit of FOMO into it. You know, you
100%.
don't want to miss out on
No.
this promotion, on this hot new promotion that's just come out.
No, and lots of them are also linked to like limited time offers, or they'll be like, oh, only limited spots available. So people get really like worried, like, yeah, oh my God, there's only 10 of these available, or this ends at the end of this month, so I've got to get it now, or I'll get nothing. And there's so much that happens in your mind that you're not really conscious of when you're seeing these kind of promotions. And it's very easy to look at them and be like, oh my God, I've got to get this. Like, otherwise I'm going to miss out.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, some of the big ones you'll see out there, and they change all the time. Like, and we're not pointing out any builders in particular.
No,
every
no,
builder does
it's-
it.
Definitely.
But
just
it's like,
see it.
yeah, the pools, the jet skis, the extra kitchen inclusions, the Hollywood upgrades, the holiday.
Holiday to
in
Bali.
the past,
yeah.
we used to do holidays to
trip,
Bali.
Yeah, free trip to Bali. You know, if
Yeah.
you secure now.
Yeah, and then they would all be framed in a really, really fun way. So if it's like a trip to Bali, it's almost like linked to like a tropical courtyard series of homes or something like that. There's like,
Fuck,
a fun
I
kind
remember
of
them.
yeah.
yeah. I've been guys.
Oh,
I was
I mean,
I was
I
one of
remember-
those guys that
Yeah, for
actually
sure.
did advertise those because that's what we got shown.
I remember feeling FOMO, and we were in the building in
I
December.
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I know.
And you even know how it works. And you're like, oh my God, it still sounds so amazing. But the main thing to keep in mind is what you guys always say is that nothing is free. And the way some of these things are calculated has a lot of little math in the background. So things like like when it comes to inclusions, keeping in mind that's not just based off every single item that's in there. They're like literally, if it's for a kitchen, and I've seen this in the past, that someone in the business will go to the estimating team and be like, okay, how do we make this kitchen appear like $40,000? And they'll be like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to like calculate all the cupboards, all the stone bench tops, all the overheads, all the walls, all the
Yeah.
battens, all the plasterboard,
Flooring.
all the paint, all the flooring, all the roof. Like every single thing gets calculated into it. So it's not just like, oh, I got a $40K like cabinetry package. Like hopefully a kitchen doesn't cost that much.
fair.
But
And
it's
that's
every
not at
single
cost
thing.
price. That's at retail price
At retail,
too.
yeah. So very different in terms of what the builder would get it for because they buy on scale,
Yes.
and they've negotiated hopefully some good.
Some
Good
good pricing
pricing,
because
yeah.
they're obviously doing quite a bit of volume, so they can negotiate a better price. But when in terms of how the promotion is shown, it's always retail price of, you know, and you got to remember so much comes into play. You know, that's like a kitchen promo type of concept. You just get some of them going for for $3,000, you get 60K of inclusions in the home, but they've already calculated that. So you got to remember, like the average most of these builders will show is like an aircon, ducted aircon, which is like fucking 10 to 15 grand. Your internal wall painting in the home that can be anywhere between 3 to 10 grand. You've then got flooring because they might have originally quoted it as like just those hell-based like lino flooring, but going to tiling or premium floorboards, that might be another 10, 15 grand. There's so much.
Things can add up fast.
Oh, 100%. By the
definitely.
time you start adding it all up, you just sit there and go, holy fuck, like it adds up quick. So what we do with Mr. Enthusiast, and I know Vida does it as well, is, hey, here's the fucking price. This is what's already included. You don't need to pay an extra promotion, like extra figure, just to get a little bit of extra value. The value's there, and here's the breakdown for it. And it's all about that being transparent, up front, rather than, oh my God, if I don't get this right now, I'm going to miss out next month. And this is the thing is like with the builders that follow.
Yeah.
that
If you're
throw
promoting
these,
that, if you're a consumer at home and you're looking at a pool promo or a jet ski promo, whatever it is, and you're really, really worried it's not going to be there next month, trust me, they want
It
you as a
will be.
client. It will be there next month.
It'll be there.
You bring it up again, it will be there. They'll make it work because they want your business. They do.
100%. If not, they'll give you something equivalent of value.
Yeah.
Because you can't just magically 1 month go, yes, we got it, and then the next you don't.
No.
Like,
It's built into the price, so they've got it ready
exactly.
to go. And I do think it's really, really interesting that most of them do attach a bit of a price point to it. So like they are like, you still need to pay an extra $299 or $399 or $499, and that's because they want you to think that you are purchasing all that for nothing. But really,
Exactly.
the other 55,
yeah,
whatever
30,
thousand,
30
whatever it is,
40K, whatever
that's already
the
in the
value
house
is.
price. So this is just the
100%.
little extra on top. And if they really, really want to do business, they might even wipe that off.
They might
Back
wipe
in
it
the-
off, and then you might get hit with something later down the track with a price increase or a delay. it has to come from somewhere. The money has to be calculated from somewhere. The builder cannot run a business negatively. Otherwise, they close the doors. And no one is doing this as a charity.
No.
The business is there to make profit as a builder. So it has to come from somewhere. And unfortunately, the person that cops it is the client.
No, it's not unfortunately. That's just how all businesses work.
Yeah,
You
it is,
don't
but
walk
it's-
into Coles and expect to get a free loaf of bread.
I get
Yeah.
it. But what I'm saying
But I
is
think people
that
do
the
think that
clients
about builders
exactly.
though, and that's the thing. Like even with things like discounts, like people will be like, "Oh, can't you just give me a 5K discount? Can't you just give me a 10K discount?" It's like, no, because like any business, it needs to make money, and you want it to make money because you want your build to be secure. And no one thinks of doing that when they go into like Coles or, as you say, like the tradies come over and they're doing their electricals. Like no one thinks of doing it, but then they, it's very common in the building industry.
Alrighty. Happy to move on to the next one.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, perfect. So the next one is celebrity endorsements.
Oh, who doesn't love a celebrity? Come on, guys. No jokes. Okay, so being completely objective here and never having used a celebrity endorser, don't have plans to, nothing like that, just putting my objective marketing hat on. They can be really, really beneficial for a business, particularly in a growth phase or working in a new market. We know that celebrities have built themselves up and they've often got trust and credibility around them.
And the big following too.
Oh, yeah, true.
And
A big
huge following.
huge following. And they're able to infer the trust they built on themselves and their own character onto a product. So if you're new to market, say, for example, us, we're going into a new state, if we're not very well known, teaming up with a celebrity endorser could be a great way to get our builder's profile up and to get it like the brand to be aligned with some positive kind of characteristics. So in that sense, yeah, it's great. And as you say, following.
Yes.
On the other hand, celebrities are not cheap. Like, I know we like to think and we joke about like D-list celebrities or different influencer prices, all that kind of jazz. But if you're talking celeb, like they're on TV regularly or
They've been in
household
movies,
name,
household name,
or like Hall of Famers, like
a football
like,
player,
yes.
or anything. Yeah, you're talking like, massive name. Maybe someone overseas or a celebrity, someone on Real Housewives or Three Birds Renovation, whatever it might be. Not that any of those people will do it, but they probably do it in their own realms with different products.
Yep.
They don't come cheap
Nah, fuck
at
no.
all. And in addition to the cost of actually paying for their usage and their name and celebrity, you're paying for other things as well. So you're also going to be paying for like licensing to use the material that's being captured. And that's going to be for a certain time period. So it might be, depending on what one negotiates, 3 weeks, 1 week, months, years, like depending, like, negotiations go whatever way. They could have rolling over contracts. They could review it every year, but they're definitely paying ongoing costs. They're also paying costs for the actual production. So if they're doing a radio ad, a photo shoot, a TV shoot, like all these things, a TV shoot alone could cost $100,000 in a day.
Yeah.
So all
that
these
shit's
things,
fucking expensive.
things rack up really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in mind in the sense that all businesses that have big overheads, of which a celebrity endorser would be one such big overhead, that kind of cost has to go into the builder's marketing budget, and that marketing budget has to then, like all things, be passed on in tiny, tiny increments to the client because it's an overhead cost, just like staffing, like rentals, display homes, showrooms, all those kind of things are a business cost. And in a sense, they do have to be factored into every build.
And that's where
definitely.
it comes into like with the builder margins, like they have to they might have to increase that little margin a little bit high to be able to compensate for these costs.
Definitely.
Because you can't expect that, I'm going to sell X amount of homes to be able to, compensate for what I'm investing. So let's put a safety measure on top of what I've already got just to help, cover a little bit of that fees up front. So then obviously they can actually make it worthwhile as a return of investment for the business.
Yeah, unfortunately, all the razzmatazz, like if you're going to a beautiful showroom, big, massive display home portfolios or in celebrity endorsers, like, that's all at a cost. And unfortunately, it's not something that can just, be absorbed into the atmosphere.
No, someone has to pay for it, and it will end up being through the price of the home. And you as the consumer, as a client, will be paying for that.
Yeah, perfect.
Sweet.
Easy. Okay.
Yeah.
We're smashing through it today.
Boom. Third time's the charm.
We've had
So,
practice, guys.
We have, yeah. So the fourth type is Master Builders and HIA Awards.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they mean? Like everyone hears about them. They were quite big a couple of years ago. Let's talk about them. What do they mean?
Yep. So HIA would stand for like Housing Industry Association. So that's, one of the big companies that oversees
Most of the builders, really.
most
It's,
of the
it's
builders.
almost like a building regulator, so to speak, like the governing regulator for builders that oversees, and when shit does go wrong or whatever, that's that governing body that you deal with.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep. No, exactly. So those kind of companies and others often hold awards, like probably annually, I'd say.
Yeah.
And each of those awards historically have been really, really big deals. So I remember, 5 years ago, back when we were little youngins and going to award ceremonies, and there was such a big deal. Like everyone would get glammed up. There'd be heaps of awards going on. The night would go to midnight. I haven't heard, I haven't been to the last few years ones because obviously we don't do awards anymore.
Yeah.
But I have heard that like some of the recent like the number of awards entered is drastically reduced, and I think that's for the same reason that we're kind of chatting about it today, and that's that awards seem to mean less to the everyday to consumers now. So I think when it comes to what people put trust and credibility in the past, awards were massive. So builders did enter a lot of them because they knew, like, if I need to be seen as the best or the most trustworthy or have the best customer service or the best display homes or quality, awards are what was going to get them there, and winning awards was the answer to that. Whereas now a lot of it comes down to like product review, clients reviews, and other kind of Google.
Social pages, social media pages.
Other touch points that are all about, other proof points.
Yeah, well, your clients are your best ambassadors, really.
100%. And it's also because of how things have also changed, that like the switch, you got to remember, social media wasn't that big 10, 15 years ago,
No, it
right?
definitely wasn't.
So when you're looking at builders, and every builder claims that they're the best fucking builder out there with the best price and best value and shit. So how do you determine that? So that is why I would assume the awards were there to try and defer going, we are the best because we have all these awards.
Yeah.
But now as social media has become so fucking powerful and such a vocal tool for so many clients and builders, now all of a sudden they're realizing that us as, for a lot of Aussies, and I'm fucking lazy as fuck. I don't have the time to go to display homes and go, and go through all the homes and go inspect them all and all this shit. Now, if I see something I like, it'll be on fucking Facebook or realestate.com. And what we're seeing is that switch where a lot of the time people might not have the time for display homes, that they're going more into social media, onto Instagram account. They might have Instagram or TikTok now. You've got your Facebook, which are the big ones. And what's also happened with the awards as well is, as the social media has become stronger, so has the value of, and the decrease of display homes being made available.
100%. I think it's so interesting to track the trajectory of social media prominence in everyone's lives.
Yes.
And almost like, I don't want to say the word downfall, but the downfall of like display homes and awards and all those kind of like what we'd call traditional methods of kind of attracting clients and the channels that were used and the placements and the messaging as well.
Like they are still not, like they are still cool to have, but it's not what we're
I think they're nice to haves but not must haves anymore. Whereas I think before they were must haves, not nice to haves.
100%. And that's the thing is, look, it's nice to have, but it's not something that you should determine your future life based upon. Do you know what I mean? It's like they might have won some awards 4 or 5 years ago. Look how much has happened in the last 2-3 years.
Huge.
What your biggest advocate right now as a consumer, as a client looking into building and with builders, is going to be looking at the social media pages where the trend is now. And that's like what we were saying, product review, your Google reviews, Facebook reviews on these builders and the consultants that you're looking at, or builder brokers, whoever the fuck you're talking to, as well as finding, doing your research. And when we're saying research, I was a lazy fuck with school. Like I'd just do like 2 minutes worth of research. Now, when you're wanting to do proper research and really getting into detail, what you'd be looking for is going onto social media pages of these, builders that you're looking at, and finding clients that are affiliated with them, that are building with them, and following their actual journey. Yeah, current clients, and following their journeys. That is where you're going to see the fucking value, because then you're going to see, if you were a client with that builder, what they're experiencing, and actually being able to work out what your potential experience is going to be. Because
and just to note, none of these client pages out there, or at least I'm yet to see one that is financially supported by a builder. Like everyone
Yeah.
seems to be doing them organically by themselves, and you can tell because not everything's positive. Like
No.
on no one page that you look at are they all glowing. They'll be like,
No.
oh, it's a shame. Like this got delayed by a couple of days, or this got stolen, or this happened. Oh yay,
Yeah.
this happened. This was amazing. Oh, I love that. Like there's a really like natural ebb and flow to everyone's pages that I
Yes.
really
Definitely.
like,
Yeah.
and like people are really honest and transparent. Like this really got me down. Oh wait, this has got me really high again. Like
Yeah.
Well, there's what we say is there's 3 sides to every story. You've got the builder side of the build journey. We've got the consultant
client.
style.
No.
Oh, the client.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. Fuck. Okay. Sorry guys. I just decided to jump in with Julie because I love doing that. I'll take.
She
I'll
was on
take
a
this
roll.
one. Fuck. I'm sorry.
We've got the builder side of the client's journey. We've got the consultant side, at least for us, the consultant side of how the client's journey is going, and the consultant side. And the consultant, oh, sorry.
just-
Client.
And the client
All
side.
right. So third time's a charm. Do you want to retry that one more time?
The builder side,
Yeah.
the consultant side,
nailed it.
and the client side.
There we
Perfect.
go.
You know what? If you didn't interrupt me,
Oh, fuck off. You had the second chance to try and
and
do
the
this.
client side is the one that is so raw because the builders
Yes.
sometimes assume everything's going great.
It's
the-
always glam on a lot of their pages. If you actually look at a lot of the builders on their social media and the like Facebook and Insta, a lot of the time for most of them, it's all glim and glam. It's we have to keep to this certain tile on Instagram to make it look pretty and all these things.
The grid.
And
Yeah,
the
it's,
grid.
it's all about the,
The grid is so
obsession
old
with the
now.
grid.
Guys, the grid is over. It's been
It's
over for
over.
at least a year.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over it. So
Stop gridding.
it's it's always the real pretty photos, display home photos, and all this shit. It
That's
doesn't
what actually, just stopping you right there. That
Oh,
is
here
the
we
one
go.
thing that grates me though. Like I don't care
Yes.
too much about the grid. I sort of do still like it. Like, look, I hate on it, but I do think it's pretty, and it does sort of get me a bit jealous every now and then when I'm like, oh, I used to like different brands used to
Yeah.
had such pretty grids, and now I don't have it. But the display home photos, it's like, can you show some? Like it just looks like, and also they're the same home, so it'd be like the same home, but you'll see like 50 different angles of it. Like I want to see something else. Like at least
Yeah.
even
Something
just show
different.
even just show pre-start or show like
Sure,
Anything.
client, just
a
literally
client,
anything.
on
Not show
the
anything
slab.
else, anything
the
but
slab.
display home photo. Like if,
Yeah.
or if you're doing it, like just one in every 10, maybe. Like every
Yeah.
photos, like mix it up.
Maybe 50. I don't want to see that
50.
many.
Okay. We've mentioned display homes a couple of times, which is my 7th topic.
Ooh.
So let's dive into display homes a little bit more because we've mentioned it a couple of times.
All right, I'll do.
So-
I'll jump into this and then you jump in. After.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, there's a
okay.
whole plan going on here.
There's a whole.
Oh.
Well, fucking, we'll just like pass each
Oh, okay,
other on.
pass the
Pass the
parcel.
parcel. All right. So with display homes, it's a positive and negative, right? So there are some real big positives, and some of the big positives really comes into play when we're talking about having something physical there that you can actually see, right? They do look amazing. They are fucking gorgeous half the time.
Mhm.
But the biggest but with these is they cost a fucking arm and a leg and your soul and your fucking left nut if you're a bloke. If you're a bloke.
That's expensive.
Yeah, it literally does though. The cost of the display home as a base model is on average about $150,000 to $200,000 more than a normal design.
Yeah.
Then you add the inclusions, what you're seeing in that home. There's another 100, 150K
You talking like
on
furniture,
average.
like you're thinking like
No,
everything you actually see.
I'm still talking about inclusions. So
Well,
we're talking
like,
like
waterfall ends.
your
raised
waterfall ends, your
ceilings.
raised ceilings, your
the display
high
home must
ceilings.
haves.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. The display home must have. So you've got the base plan of how expensive they are, then the cost of actually having it kitted out with inclusions of the home. Then after all that, then you go and pay for some high-end fucking interior designer to come out with an open checkbook for them to come out and deck out the home, which can make or break a home.
Mm.
And that costs so much money, right? It's not realistic most
You
of
also
the
have to
time.
purchase all that furniture, and they're not going. No offense, they're not going to IKEA.
Nah, fuck no,
No.
they're not. Nah. I know Freedom. I remember Freedom was one
I
of them.
remember
Mm.
when we
And
were
God
working at a display
damn, that
home.
shit was expensive.
Yeah, when we were working at a display home, I
Yes.
found a mirror and I fell in love with it.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
I did so much research on it, and it was an $1,100 mirror for a mirror.
Well, I was gonna say,
Is it Empire Furniture? Where is it from?
Freedom, I think.
Oh,
I'll actually. Back in the day, when I was working in display home, there was one. Julie was obsessed. Julie gets obsessed with the most weirdest shit, and one of them was a book stand, and
Oh.
it was the whale book stand.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
the love stays
the,
strong.
the display home.
I've got it.
The display, yeah, we ended up buying it. So this display home is
Buying
literally
it.
imagine I don't know,
It's a
fucking
blue whale split in half.
about 20 centimeter. I reckon 20 centimeters in total. 20 centimeter statue of a whale cut in half so that you can obviously put your books in between it.
Cute.
Guess how much that fucking cost?
But guessing by your face, I'm thinking like $180.
Yeah, literally.
Really?
For two
It was
fucking pieces.
160.
Fucking get over
And
it.
I got it as a Christmas present from your mum.
Oh, she's a generous mother-in-law.
Thanks, Mum. But seriously,
Yeah.
that is fucking stupid amount of money
For a book stand.
for a book stand. Are you serious? Like, just throw them in the fucking corner, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, I'm
Getting
just saying,
onto it.
like, in terms of the costing of furnishing these homes, it is fucking ludicrous for some of these things. I still remember one of the first paintings we ever bought because we didn't know where to get paintings from. I loved this piece from one of the display homes, and I ended up chasing the interior designer, finding out where they got it from, and it's just a 70 by 90 canvas print. We got two of them because it was a 2-piece, and it costed us $3,500 cost price.
Oh,
It was a lot. That was
Oh my
our housewarming
God.
gift to ourselves, essentially. That was
yeah.
like our
So
big spend.
It's just
Oh
shit like
my
that. So when you do
God.
walk into them, don't think that you're just going to be able to replicate that, with like a $20,000 budget. Try
100%.
like 10 times that.
And unfortunately, because the changes are so massive, they really are difficult to replicate. It's not
Yes.
just like, oh, there's a slightly raised ceiling. It's like every single element has been touched by what we call the feather of money.
Yeah. I also
And that
want
feather
to,
of money is just transformed.
I also want to mention if a builder was to build a display home that was to a client's home, how we normally build the homes, it would be so underwhelming because of the expectation that a display home must be amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone knows that display homes are specced up and they are like money has been spent on them. But as a client, you still walk in there and you go, oh, but I could get this. What you're getting is nothing like that. But if they built the house, that would be to the client's spec. It'd be so underwhelming. The
It
client
would
would walk
be,
in and
yeah.
walk out.
And what
Yeah.
sucks is I think that everyone gets told it will be basically the same. Like
Yeah.
you're walking in and they go
Yes.
like, oh yeah,
It's
we have
fucking
this one
every
here is really
time.
expensive, but we've got a really similar base model, slightly less spec, but like go for this from our promo range or something.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
slide it
100%.
across.
I remember doing
There'll be like
that.
100 or 200K difference in
Man,
what
yeah.
the plan is and what they're actually seeing, but
Th-
they think they're getting their display.
I was a big one. Like I used to work in displays, and we had we had a promo range of floor plans that were very similar to what the display home was. And people would ask, like, I want this display home. I'm like, all right, cool. It's going to cost you $400K back then. This was back in the day, 4 or
Far
5
out.
years ago. It was about $400K to build it to that spec. And they're like, oh, fuck, I don't have that budget.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, we can start with $200K back then and then do a couple of these changes. The floor plan is going to be almost identical,
Yep.
but the level of inclusion, you're not going to get this, and this. And that was how I worked as a display home, which was as a consultant in a display home, which was very different versus we've experienced that when we built, a lot of our clients have
Yeah.
gone into display homes and they just get fucking shit shoved down into their throat going, this is what it is. You're getting all this for, for X amount of cost. It's fucking full of shit. They are great. They do look amazing. But your best reality of what you want to get is going to be going into homes that are under construction to actually see the quality of the workmanship you are going to get as a person.
Yeah.
Because display homes are done by the best of the best trades that builder can secure.
No, and I think
there
that's
is so much
such a good-
micromanagement in it too to make sure
Oh,
it is
yeah.
to
Be
the
checked
detail.
on daily. You've got a different set of trades. Most of them have their like display home tradie
Yes.
team, which is like their top of the top. They send them out. They've got top materials. They're also a no delays. You'll notice with display homes, like
Oh,
there'll be
yeah.
some builders out there having a really tough trot of it when it comes to their own time frames for their client homes. But you just notice their display homes just get put up really, really quickly.
100%.
Pop up like a
And that-
mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a different team, and obviously different like priorities going on there. But
Definitely.
a massive thing with display homes is that unfortunately just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, 100%.
Smoke
They
and mirrors.
look,
They're a
look
good
great.
and
That-
also there's other costs associated as well,
Yeah.
which obviously outside the scope of this public conversation. But you've got to remember there's aircon being run 24/7, electricity being
The
run.
maintenance on it.
Maintenance
Huge.
is being that, and then of course they also have to sell the home at a loss at the end of it. So the overheads from a builder's point of view are really, really large. So the more display homes, the more costs they're kind of carrying in that
Definitely.
sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm.
We've got one more, which
The
is
finale.
the
The finale.
house and land packages. So this is realestate.com. Prices start from XXX or get in for $299 per week. All these kinds of
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there's ethical and unethical ways people can market house and land packages. They are really, really popular because I think consumers often are trying to look for the whole package, and they're trying to get out of a rental and into their own home. And, you know, because of all the panic at the moment, a lot of them will naturally go to like Domain or REA or search house and land packages,
So
because they don't just
REA
want a home. Oh, yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so REA is realestate.com.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why we all shorten it to REA, but we all do in the industry. But yeah, they'll hop on there because they're looking for that, you know, I go direct, I find everything done for me and it all works together, and that's kind of the ideal scenario of how house and land packages work. I'd sort of caution finding anything offline when it comes to a house and land package, and not going and getting someone to customize it, because often like you might not end up in the exact right area you want or had the perfect home for the block. Someone's just probably banged it together because they're trying to get a couple of leads.
Yeah.
Like that might not have been thought about too much, because some of these builders are trying to get a large volume of packages up and have quotas and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I can see there's definitely value in them, but are they done well most of the time? I'd say 95% of the time not.
And ethically, 85% of the time not.
Yeah.
Because when you really look at, if someone has your best interest at heart, this is how I see it.
Yeah.
If someone has your best interest at heart, they won't be throwing something generic at you, because they'll be sitting you down, listening to your circumstances, what your situation is, and finding the right block with the right design that fits with your lifestyle. That is why you're building. If you're going to build what you want to a certain degree. If not, go buy established.
Yeah.
It's that fucking simple. So a lot of these generic packages where you're going in for, I just want to go in for 430. Guys, it doesn't work that way. You got to look at the whole scope of picture, because you might be thrown in the other side of the city that you weren't expecting just to try and get into that budget. And when you look at what you're realistically looking at, holy shit, it's now soared so it's nearly double the price of what you're expecting. This is why. So it comes into play, as well as how it's actually calculated in terms of, you know, getting in for this house land package for $420 a week, $500 a week.
And this bit isn't regulated, which I find really, really interesting. So every builder has a different methodology in how they approach the terms and conditions of a house and land package, and how ultimately they price out their homes. So, for example, at La Vida, we price ours up with a 5% interest rate, a 5% deposit, which is on the lower end, and we also calculate it without any first homeowners grant or any land rebates or anything like that. Other people out there might do it with a 20% deposit, which we know
Most people
don't have. They might choose the best, most unrealistic interest rate that's ever existed, and then throw in a first homeowners grant and a land rebate and some other made up rebate.
Yes.
So there's different ways of calculating, and there's no rhyme or reason. So any builder can do anything, and any sales rep can technically do anything, as long as they're following the correct kind of criteria and actually disclaiming the math that they use to create those packages.
Correct, but it's always at like a size 3 font, so that you can barely fucking see it unless you're really zooming into it, or with a micro, you know, I was going to say microphone glass, but it's not a microphone glass. It's a magnifying glass, guys.
Yeah.
We remembered. So in terms of all that, before you start jumping on it, look at all the T's and C's. And if they're trying to get you to actually meet with them in person to be able to get that information, that's a bit of a fucking red flag. They should be able to advise straight off the bat, going, look, it's based on 20%, this. Is this something that you feel like is feasible for you? Not really. I'm more into this situation. Okay, cool. Now you can go catch up with them for an info session, rather than assuming. Assumptions
make asses of us all.
That's the one.
Yay,
that's the one.
I was going to let him try to nut it out.
Don't. I've already been fucking ripped into once with a waiting screen. Oh fuck. So yeah. So you don't want to assume that they have your best interests at heart, because potentially they don't. Only you have the assumption of what you know, what you want. So you need to be able to project that to the builder or to the consultant and make sure that you're both on the same fucking page.
One thing I'd also kind of throw out there as well is around the imagery being used on house and land packages. And that's a really difficult element for builders and house and land reps and sales consultants, because a lot of the home plans that they don't have photos of, because we've talked about previously.
Yes.
Builders often just have photos of their display homes. They've got nothing else to show. So what happens in those scenarios when you're in one of those builders is that their reps need to leverage display home photos and pair them with base plans, and they'll use those for their marketing. They can just do it images for illustration purposes only, little disclaimer, and then tie it to a massive other disclaimer on their website somewhere along the lines. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind, because yes, some of the images match up to the base plans. Many don't. Sometimes they're just random and it's just like a nice kitchen or a nice home and they're just trying to get the feel of something going on. But the specification of what you see on that screen and in those visuals, like we said with display homes, doesn't match up to base plans.
Correct.
And there could be 100 or 200 grand just in spec differences with cabinetry and high ceilings and extra stone
The
and all this kind
grand
of stuff.
elevation on the home where half the time it costs like 40, 50K
Yeah, some could be
together.
50K,
It's
yeah.
fucking wild.
Mm.
So definitely
gorgeous.
yeah.
Yeah.
They look great, but not realistic. So it's those things you need to almost take it with a grain of salt. Be like, I like this. Let's get some more info and be prepared for that. And be prepared that you might not get exactly what you're reading when you meet them in person. Because we've seen that where they'll advertise in one area, but they actually mean to take you somewhere else. So all these things are things to really consider about what you're looking
And
at.
that sucks because I think there are lots of really ethical people in the building
Yes,
industry. And I think
definitely.
there's a few kind of bad eggs that might do those kind of practices.
Correct.
And that's kind of why we're bringing it up now. But
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
yeah, hopefully when people go online, everything matches up and everything looks legit. And, you know,
One can only hope, though.
hopefully when
we're-
people
we're
go to
just
display
a-
homes, they don't
Look,
get
I'm
pounced
just
upon.
a fucking realist that likes to sit there and go, you got to be prepared for it, you know,
Yeah.
and not expect that everyone's got the best interest in mind because
No.
some people don't.
Not all clients and builders have the same transparency that we all do.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves in the transparency that we offer, whereas
Fucking oath.
a lot of builders are not as transparent.
No,
so
and
that's
you know
something
what?
to keep in
Slowly
mind.
but surely, it will all
Oh,
start to
100%.
fade
It will
away.
change.
They're all fucking slowly going to get weeded away. It's
Yeah.
it's a matter of time, guys. Got to be patient, but at the same time,
I feel a change. So
Protect
I
yourself.
see a lot of builders, like even if we're talking about awards, way less builders entering awards now.
100%,
That's happened literally just the
yes.
last year. I've seen it kind of falling off a cliff a bit. Display home.
fucking
Falling off a cliff.
Just casually, there's a cliff it's been falling off. And then the next one, display homes, also seeing them really reduce their display home presence and profile. So again, like things are trending in the right direction.
it just takes time.
But it takes time. And I think a lot of that's the reason lots of builders got those massive showrooms because their idea was to maybe move away from display homes entirely, but it's a kind of a prolonged approach, possibly.
Right,
like,
maybe.
obviously can't speak for other builders'
Yeah.
strategies and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be kind of an angle. But I definitely think we're moving towards a time of transparency and we need to because that's what's really being called upon us by the audiences out there. Millennials and Generation Z expect truth from businesses and they're not wanting to have the wool pulled over their eyes. They want to make decisions based off really practical things and to have all the information they need to make those decisions. So that's something that I think businesses, be it builders or external, can really think about and see how they can approach that. Just like you guys have, because it takes a lot of guts, I think, like you guys do, like saying no to promotions and not offering all these things that other people do. The reason they do them
Look,
is because they
we
help
lose-
close deals.
Yeah, we lose quite a bit of business, and I will say this on the podcast. I don't give a fuck about the fact of how I approach things being so dead set up front.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not a people pleaser. I'm here to set shit straight. Some people want to get wooed. Fuck, sorry, mate. Fucking, I don't even woo Julie. I'm not going to woo you.
Didn't you? Did you?
No,
There's still time. There's still time.
No, fuck that. It's just about
Aw.
the fact
it's
that
fine. I know my man.
Look, at the end of the day, it's just like this shit is scary. It's daunting. It's a lot of fucking money. The last thing you need is some fucking yes man or yes woman to sit there and promise you the world and shit goes wrong. The way we do it is this is how it is. This is the worst case what you're going to be dealt with. If you're happy with it, cool. If not, there's a fucking door. That's what you get.
Nick's
And-
not a woo man.
No, I'm not a woman. But you know
I'll just
what?
quietly giggle into my
Yeah,
microphone.
but you know what? That's what I wanted
No,
as a
yeah.
client. That's what Julia also
That's what you missed
wanted.
out on as
We
well.
missed out on it, so that's what we give to people. It might not be for everyone, but at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. So yeah, you know, it is what it is, but that's how our transparency comes through as well.
Perfect.
But I think that's
Let's do a summary.
Mm.
all right, Julie. This is all you.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Shine.
So, Maddie, you chime in at any point in time, but we try and keep our summaries short and people can re-listen if they missed anything.
Cool.
So, the first type is finance-orientated marketing. This is get in for 3K or 4K, zero savings home loans, and pay your rent while you build. The second type is promotions, which is get a item, whether it be a pool or a jet ski or a trip to Bali or whatever it is, for X amount of money, or a room upgrade, so like a kitchen upgrade for X amount of money, or 40, 60, whatever amount of money worth of inclusions in your home,
Or something entirely free.
or
Yes.
something entirely free. The third type is celebrity endorsements. We kind of went over that, so I don't have a lot of dot points about that one. The fourth type is master builders and HIA awards. And we went through about what they mean and how
And
they
what are building awards really,
Yeah,
and
and-
what were they meant to achieve.
Thanks,
in
Maddie.
terms-
And we talked about how they're on the decline.
Yep.
The fifth type is house and land packages. So this is your realestate.com that we just spoke about. And the last one is display homes and how they're also on the decline and how they're always spec'd up. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're going through a display home because it's not what you're actually going to be receiving. That's our quick summary. So and Maddie, do you have anything else to add?
No, I thought that was a really, really awesome summary. I just wanted to maybe add in that we're not here to, even though we don't use promotions in our own lives and we've done that in our past, we're not really here to shit all over them.
Nah.
I think, like, you know, if you look at something and you think it's the right option for you and you think, hey, I don't care that they're trying to, you know, be a bit smoke and mirrorsy about it and they're asking me for an extra 4K if I get this big bonus. If you're happy overall with the specification and the product and the home design, then that's awesome. And go do that and go check that builder.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with using a promotion or going with a builder that has a promotion. The main thing to keep in mind is just why they have these tactics and what they're trying to do, and usually some kind of like limited time offer, something that's trying to make you think like you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
Or something's included for free. But if you're happy that it's not and you just love what it is, go for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
perfect.
It's more about, we're all about here to try and break it all down. So then you actually know that, yes, I do have to pay for it and I now understand what it's about. If you can get that and understand it and you still want to do it, fucking go for it, man.
All
Go
about
for it.
making educated decisions, which
Dead
is what
set.
this
That's what-
podcast is all about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's plug La Vida. You can find La Vida Homes on
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and at www.lavidahomes.com.au.
and we can find Mr. Enthusiast on
Facebook, Insta, TikTok, website, which is mrenthusiast.net.au. We've got
YouTube.
Okay, Nick. You've got YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And
Just name a few.
yeah, just
Yeah,
a
just
couple.
name a few.
Basically, all the social platforms, anything, if you just type in Mr. Enthusiast, we're on. And for the podcasting, so in terms of Apple Podcasts and Spotify, just look up the Enthusiast Lab and you'll hear all about us.
Perfect. Remember, guys, to like, subscribe.
Yeah, leave a rating if you can.
That would be
That's
amazing.
fucking killer. And thank you to everyone so far that's been sending us messages. We're literally getting them nearly daily.
Really?
It's
That's
fucking
so good.
sick.
Yeah.
So please keep them coming. We fucking love it. Share this around, guys. If you can help anyone out there that can get some info out of this, 100%. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, perfect. And just remember, guys.
We're not here.
To F spiders.
Now you got to say bye.
No.
Fuck spiders.
There we go. Catch us on the next one.
Bye.